Hi, welcome back to Redeemed Treasures. Today I'm going to try something completely new that I have never done before. I'm dyeing. I am using RIT dye and the color Stay Fixative. And I've got 3 items that I'm going to dye. And it's all going to be navy blue, which is what this is. And I am dyeing this white skirt. This used to be a dress, and then I cut the top off and made it into a skirt. And I'm not a huge fan of white. I don't wear it very often. So that's going to get dyed. Guess I should check, make sure our cutting board's clean. Okay. And then I'm going to dye this piece of trim that I pulled off of a pillowcase. I have a shirt that I just finished with the ruffled collar that I want to put on the bottom of it. But the shirt's all different shades of blue. So white would be just kind of like, that doesn't go there. So I'm gonna dye that blue to go with that shirt. And then the one I'm not really sure how it's gonna turn out because it's not white originally is this yellow shirt. What happened, and I love this shirt, absolutely love it. It is 100% cotton, great shirt. Of course, now it might not even fit me because I've lost weight since I was going to do this like over a year ago. But I washed it with something that left like bluish green marks all over it. So I figured, well, let's just dye it blue. So it may turn out blue, it may turn out green. I'm not sure. But it should all dye except this one little stripe back here that is yellow, and the color of that didn't change in the wash. Nothing bled onto that. So I'm excited and curious to see how this one's going to turn out. Okay, I have my stainless steel pot. It's not as big as I would like, but I got it at the thrift store for like $7. And I think it'll be okay. Hope it'll be okay. So let me turn this on. I was under the impression I only needed this. But I don't see why I can't just dissolve it in this, right? I don't know. Should I follow the instructions exactly the way I'm supposed to? Or flub with it a little bit? Okay, 2 cups of hot water. Okay, hot water. I should probably wet the stuff that I want to dye first. I know it needs to be wet. Got our little dye packet. Oh, I'm so nervous. Yep, it almost looks purple. Like on the package, it looks almost black, but when you dump it out, it looks purple. I should probably go ahead and put my gloves on. I'll get to church tomorrow and people will be like, what happened to your hands? Oh, for best results, add 1 cup of salt. For cotton, all this stuff's cotton. Add 1 cup of vinegar. Oh, that's for the other material. So 1 cup of salt. Add a teaspoon of liquid dish detergent. Look at my pretty purple gloves. For this, I got the cheap crappy salt. We don't eat this. This is nasty stuff. We eat real salt. So this will just be for dyeing only. Oh, I hope this turns out okay. I can't believe a whole cup of salt. That's kind of crazy to me. Oh. Yeah, see, we use 7th generation. I have some Dawn dish soap, but I don't know. I use that to help get stains out. Add pre-dissolved dye solution to water and mix well. Okay. For best results, add a cup of salt, a teaspoon of liquid dish detergent. Heat dye bath to just below boiling. I don't know, can you see that? It looks purple. Okay, add the salt. And a teaspoon of dish soap. Whoa. We got some funky science experiment type stuff going on here. Okay. Submerge unfolded wet fabric into dye bath. Maintain temperature for duration of dyeing. Stir consistently for 30 minutes or until desired color is achieved. Fabric will look darker when wet and prior to washing. Okay. So after dyeing, I'll use the fixative, which I believe I read before, just half a bottle. Oh, use it immediately after dyeing cotton. And then rinse with cool water. Wash in warm water with mild detergent by hand or in your washing machine with an old towel. Okay. So let me double check the directions on this. I don't want that to get to boiling, so I'm trying to keep an eye on that. Now I got the powder one because it says it's for natural fabrics, but I watched this lady, her name's Tracy, on YouTube with T. Myers Handmade, and she uses the liquid dye for everything regardless, and I've never seen her use the stabilizer, but this is my first time and I picked up the powder, so I'm going to use the stabilizer. Shake well before using. Add hot water to a bucket or a stainless pot. I'll just have to reuse this. Ideally, water temperature should be 140 degrees or greater. Add the dye, mix well, add fabric, stir consistently for 20 minutes. Now, I've seen Tracy use a paper towel to test color to see if it's what she wants. It doesn't matter for me, really, because I just poured the whole thing in. But yes, the darker the blue, the better. That's what I wanted, was a really dark, dark navy. It's hot, not boiling. Is it just below boiling? I don't know. I don't want to use all of our good stuff to be testing things. Like, we have a thermometer. I could test the temperature to see if it's like close to 200. But I think I'm just going to say, it's good. Let's do this. I'll try not to drip all across the floor, but I'm sure I probably will. So let's start with this trim. And you see I rinsed out that bowl in the sink over the clothes, so there's the shirt, and then here's the skirt. I'm hoping that this isn't too much. Don't overflow, don't overflow. This is probably more than I should be putting in this pot, but I gotta use what I've got, right? It is already turning dark. I do not think I'm gonna need my full 30 minutes. So I'm doing this when my husband's not here, because I know he'd be like, oh my gosh, I can't believe you're doing that. Okay, so I probably should have went with just something. Probably shouldn't have done all three at one time, because I don't know that I'm going to be able to stir this around enough to get the dye on everything, because I just saw a piece of that shirt that wasn't getting the dye. See, that stripe is not going to dye, which is what I was hoping for. This is really dark. But it said it would look darker when it's wet. Oh, that's turning out pretty. I like that. Yay, I'm so excited. I like dark blue, so I don't care if it gets dark. That doesn't bother me one bit. Just kind of looking around, make sure everything's getting enough dye. Alright, so it says 30 minutes, so it puts me at about 7:15. I'll come back for y'all in a minute. Okay, so as you can see, I pulled the stuff out and put it in a bowl while I rinsed out the pan or the pot. And I added some water. Sorry, I had to take my glove off to turn the camera back on. Ugh. And now I'm going to do half a bottle of this. And I didn't even go the full 30 minutes. I went, well, the little lacy piece, I did maybe 12 minutes on it. And everything else was more like 20 minutes. And it was the color that I was okay with. The shirt looks kind of black. More so than blue. But, you know, it was already yellow, so I didn't know what to expect. Okay, so about half of this, I guess. Put this back in. This is my understanding, and then we rinse afterwards. Now I'm going to try to unball this a little bit and then stick it in there. See, that yellow stayed undyed, and so did the stitching apparently. So right now it looks like I'm a Pittsburgh Steelers fan. I didn't say anything about consistently stirring, so I'll stir it some, but not as much as I did when I was dyeing it. I don't know, it's supposed to help the color stay vibrant and fix so it doesn't bleed so much. Okay. Been in the fixative for about 20 minutes, and it does say to stir consistently. Not constantly, just consistently. So now we're going to rinse in cold water, and I'm sorry, you're probably not going to be able to see a whole lot because we don't have a light above our sink. So we're supposed to rinse until it looks like the water runs fairly clear, which it doesn't seem to have a whole lot of. I'm just going to give these a good rinse, and then I will wash them in the machine on warm, is what it says to do, with a towel. So the towel is what will absorb any color that decides to bleed. So make sure you use an old towel. We have plenty of those, so that's not a problem. Oh man, there's a spot that didn't get dyed very well. Oh well, you know what? If there's spots like that, I'm just going to add appliques to that shirt, and I think it'll look spectacular because it did end up looking a little more black than blue. Rinse and squeeze, rinse and squeeze. So this turned out pretty nice too. I didn't want this one super, super dark. Any shade of blue probably would have been fine, but alright, this one's the harder one to rinse. Now I gotta make sure there's nothing else in the washing machine. Wash it on warm, dry it, and then we'll have a look at it and see how it turned out. Okay, so I'm wearing this skirt that I dyed, and it turned out pretty good. It is a little splotchy in areas. I know you're not gonna be able to see it on the camera, but I do like the color. So what I'll probably end up doing is decorating it with some appliques and stuff to distract from the splotchiness or make it look like it's supposed to be that way. But I do like the color. It's like a denim blue. Yeah. There you go. So yeah, you can see it's got some splotchiness to it. My first time dyeing, you know, I do what I can. So things I learned. Um, A, get a bigger pot. B, if I'm going to use this pot, I need to do just one garment at a time. Because otherwise, I think that's part of the splotchy problem. I have a feeling that maybe the liquid dye works better than the powdered dye because the liquid dye would dye the polyester strings, possibly. You see all the strings are still white. But I don't know. It was fun. I think I'll do it again. I'll either A, get a bigger pot whenever I find one, or B, only do one garment at a time in the smaller pot that I have. So the other shirt, like I think I showed you before, maybe not, it's very splotchy. I don't think it just took the dye very well at all. And then there's this, my little trim piece. I think it turned out well. I did not leave this in the dye as long as everything else, so it is a little bit lighter. And it is actually going to be a small ruffle on the bottom of this shirt. I will be dyeing again at a much later date, probably. It's quite the process, and waiting. It's not like cooking where you can just kind of start something, walk away, and come back. You have to like consistently stir it and watch it and make sure it doesn't get too hot, blah, blah, blah. So there is a lot of waiting involved. So my adventures in dyeing was fun. I will do it again. I will experiment with the liquid dyes as well. And I think the best thing to do is mostly dye things that are already white or cream or a very light color, because the yellow shirt did turn out looking a little more black than it did blue or even green. So, but thanks for watching. I do appreciate it. And I can't wait for my next project, and I'm dying to see you there.